Hello, welcome to Talking Good Gamers match preview of Lyon against West Ham United's second leg of the Europa League quarter-final. A place in the semi-final up against either Barcelona or Frankfurt awaits the winners of this tie. Gonzo, what did you make of Lyon in the first leg? Tell me what you thought about Lyon.
Really? Okay, fair enough. I thought they were. I thought they were technically very good. I thought they had a good pace about them. But I thought they were a bunch of babies, quite frankly. It was embarrassing to watch. I got to say that it was frustrating as a West Ham fan. And I think it's hard to, as a neutral, maybe you can watch it and marvel at their skill. When you can see their skill against your team, it's fine. It's not like no skillful teams have played against West Ham before. I've seen skillful teams play against West Ham. Not a problem with that. But I think when their play acting happens, it's hard to then appreciate their skill as well. I could tell they were skillful, but I just found it a whole frustrating endeavour, which is, I guess, the whole point of the time wasting, of the stopping the flow of the play. That was really their intent, was for them to have attacking play. Anytime we tried to build any momentum or a counter-attack, was for them to stop our counter-attack by getting the referee to blow his whistle, which is what made it so frustrating when the fan ran onto the pitch, because it was a case of, mate, that's exactly what they've been doing. You've just done what Lyon were doing there. A very, very frustrating team. And I just think sometimes when a team plays like that, and I mentioned this earlier on in the season, Geo, when I watched Paris Saint-Germain play, which obviously wasn't against West Ham, it's totally independent. It cancels out the good football. It's like if you ever watched Pepe play for, or Daniel Alves, or for any of these players that played for the big teams. You think Sergio Ramos, for instance. Well, I think, mate, your play acting has completely cancelled out any joy I might have had from watching Ronaldinho. Do you know what I mean? So anyway, there you go. That's what I think of Lyon.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, actually. I thought they moved the ball really nicely, especially in the first half when it was 11v11. That's when you got a true sense of Lyon. I think the second half, it's hard to judge them, just like it's hard to judge West Ham and that, because the game's completely changed when there's West Ham down to 10 men. But in the first half, I thought we had quite a level game, actually. I thought both teams were quite even. I think the first 10, 15 minutes, they were sort of more on the front foot. I thought they were passing the ball nicely, 2 or 3 touches and moving it. There were a few players on the ball that didn't mind getting on the ball and dribbling and trying to take on our players. I was quite impressed by them until their antics started, but I partly put that down to the referee for allowing it. Had we had a stronger referee in charge that said, no, cut that out from the off, we would have had a different game. I'd like to think we'd have had a different Lyon. We might find out on Thursday. I'm just trying to check there, because I believe that the referee on Thursday is the one that we had in the first leg in Seville. So remember when we played Sevilla away, that referee was letting everything go. I believe that's the referee for the second leg, which might make a huge difference to the way that both teams can go about their business, the way that the game's played out, and it should make for a more entertaining affair anyway. So I was quite impressed by them to some extent, but I wasn't blown away. I haven't come away from that thinking, oh, they're going to be impossible to beat in the second leg. If anything, I was slightly more encouraged, because I don't know what I was expecting. I haven't seen much of them this season to judge them, so I can only judge them by what I saw at the London Stadium. And I would say they were impressive, but that's all. They weren't anything mesmerising. I wouldn't even say there was much between Lyon and Sevilla, to be honest with you, in terms of the way they shifted the ball and they were organised and whatnot. I don't think there was much I think there was quite a lot of similarities between the two, which is encouraging for me as a West Ham fan. But what is also encouraging for me as a West Ham fan and yourself, Gonzo, is during the weekend game for Lyon, they had a few players go off with injury, including their goalkeeper Lopez. So he's a doubt for Thursday night, as is Aouar, who was arguably one of the better players on Thursday against West Ham, as well as Ndombele. They are all major doubts for Lyon ahead of this week. So while West Ham got a couple and one definitely out, Lyon as well will be sweating over the team. Good news, Gonzo. Good news.
Oh, I didn't. Well, it's news. Definitely news, because I didn't know that. As far as I was aware, they rotated heavily.
They did. They rested 5 or 6 players, but the ones that did play, unfortunately, got injured.
Well, because it shows that you should rest your players, doesn't it? I guess in that case, I bet they wish they'd have rested all of their players.
Villarreal did that.
Sorry?
Villarreal did that in Champions League. They played Bayern Munich and they won 1-0 in Germany. And at the weekend, they rested all 11, including the keeper. They didn't even play the keeper. Villarreal, no. we're not playing one player that's going to be playing against Bayern Munich in the second leg.
I bet Bayern Munich got a right ump about that. I bet on Bayern Munich chat when they're talking about all that. I bet they're going, I can't believe Villarreal have done that. Why haven't we done that? It's unfair. That's what they're saying.
Should have invested in January. No squad
That's what they'll be saying.
That's our problem. Tight.
Yeah, I'm sure the Scottish one on Bayern Munich chat has noticed some tactical frailty in the Villarreal defence, though.
Anyway, before we talk about more Lyon, then obviously look towards West Ham in the game. We've got a bit of an important message. This video is sponsored by Manscaped. However, they got in touch this month and said, for our sponsorship, we want you to use it to help raise awareness for Testicular Cancer Awareness Month in April. Obviously, West Ham have linked up to Manscaped due to the obvious similarities with the Dylan Tombides Foundation. And Manscaped do a lot of good work and help raising awareness for men's health downstairs. So, gentlemen, if you're watching this and you haven't checked yourself this month, please do. There's a link in the description to Manscaped's website, which tells you how to do it. There's also apps you can join up to, so you get a text once a month to remind you to go and check it, as that is how often you're supposed to be checking your balls, gentlemen. Find it and get it sorted. But while you're here, you can still use the code Hammers Chat for the products that Gonzo has got. If you go onto the website, put everything in your basket, put in the word Hammers Chat, and you'll give you 20% off everything. But in the other video sponsored by Manscaped later this week, I'll tell you a little bit more about their products. But for this one, please, gentlemen, it's the biggest form of cancer between men at the ages of 15 and 35. Do check yourself. It takes literally 2 minutes. Pause it right now, go do it, come back, and then finish the preview. Or do it after the preview. You think it's a bit weird touching yourself while watching. Yeah, wash your hands afterwards. That's a good bit of advice there, Gonzo. Anyway, there's something that worries me, Gonzo, from what I did see from Lyon in the first leg.
I think I know what you're going to say. Yes.
Tete. He did. I thought when he came on, they were against 10 men, but you know something, playing against 10 men is sometimes more difficult, because obviously in the first half, West Ham had a bit of attacking sense about us. We tried to go at Lyon as much as we could without being silly, but the second half, it was gone. Yes, we had a couple of really good counter-attacks until someone ran on the pitch, but all in all, in the second half, we played 10 men behind the ball. All 10 were back, said, right, we're going to set up shop, we're going to defend, we're going to park the bus. And it becomes even more difficult to break a team down. I thought the one player for Lyon that looked capable was the one that helped provide the goal, which was Tete. Now, Ben Johnson came on at left back, and I actually thought he struggled against Tete. I know a lot of people thought Ben Johnson played quite well. I think he did quite well with some parts of his game. I think the one-on-one battle, when it came to standing up to him, whatever, I thought Tete got the better of him on a few occasions. And that's the one thing that worries me going into this one. I just thought I'd throw that out there in case it happens. I can say I told you. Just... No.
Yeah, well, hopefully you can't say I told you, because hopefully it doesn't happen. I think one of the reasons why people perceive Johnson to have played well, and I do as well, and this is your whole stadium versus television debate. If you like, you're not always sure when things happen quickly in a stadium, particularly one where a lot of the seats are as far away as they are in ours, exactly who's dribbled past whom. It's not always evident, but it's really, I think, sometimes clear when a ball is swung in and someone bang heads it out and does something quite obvious. I think there was a very robust performance and a thou shalt not pass, let's say, performance from Ben Johnson. But I certainly, until I'd seen the highlights, hadn't noticed the drop of the shoulder and the way Tete changed direction quite quickly and basically left him trailing, didn't he? So that wasn't evident during the game, certainly. Yeah, and after I'd seen the highlights, I knew exactly what you were referring to, but I'd be lying if I said I noticed it during the game.
Despite being 50 yards away, was there any other Lyon players that caught your eye in the first leg?
Not really. But I don't mean that to be, I'm not being funny about it at all. It's just, it's really hard to see who's who when you don't know the team. So even, West Ham are up the other end of the pitch. Well, I sort of know that's Fornals because he runs like Fornals and so on. And I can tell the difference between Fornals and Lanzini, for instance, and stuff like that, because I know, because I'm a West Ham fan. It ain't as easy when you don't know the players. One thing I would say that I did notice, because we were linked with Dembele many times, obviously, and not just that, Dembele either.
Oh, what? Did you see his wink from 100 yards away? Did you? You saw him do that?
I did, mate. You don't get my glasses are sharp, I noticed that. No, but people, the funny thing is always great when you are in the stadium. is these signals seem to be a bit better. It doesn't work all the time, but in a London stadium, the signal's a bit better, the 5G or whatever. Maybe my phone's just a bit better. Who knows? But people will send you stuff. So as soon as the card happens, you're getting a full dossier on what this referee's done wrong delivered to you in a stadium. Well, have you seen this about the referee? A number of people sent me the thing saying it winked, but he was quicker than I thought. It was one of my reasons for not wanting him when he was at Celtic and we were linked with him. So I didn't think he was quite mobile enough. He looked more mobile than I thought he would be. So that was something I noticed. It was really a general play rather than any player in particular, because I just didn't know who they were. I did find them to be very technical and they kept the ball very well.
Yeah, I thought Awar looked nice to me, so hopefully he's out injured. But the one that sort of was almost disappointing, I don't know how you pronounce it right, Favre. We sort of get told by sort of people that watch Lyon saying, hey, this guy's excellent. So I was keeping an eye out for him. Didn't think he was very good. Didn't think he got on the ball very often. Got subbed off as well. Ndombele was obviously impressive. I thought Boateng looked crap at centre-back as usual. He's had a real decline of a career, hasn't he? So if he starts with Lyon, I'm hoping Antonio can go one-on-one with him. But the one that I've never heard of, and I've barely seen anyone mention him, was their right-back, Gusto. I know he's only 18 years old. I thought he was fantastic. I thought he was absolutely bombing up and down that right-hand side for 90 minutes all game, and he genuinely worried me a little bit, so much so that when we do our hypothetical 11s, I sort of almost thought, we could maybe play this player here. And I thought, actually, I don't really fancy that because Gusto will rip him apart coming down there. You almost need to have a defensive option on your left forward line to keep a hold of him if he does similar in the second leg. So, yeah, he was one that impressed me the most. Maybe it's because my expectation for him was non-existent, whereas my expectation for the rest of them was quite high, going by what others had suggested to look out for. And obviously, Dembele, I was a bit of a fan of him at Celtic. Would have liked him at West Ham. Thought he had an okay game. Obviously, there was that winky. I actually, unpopular opinion perhaps, I don't really think he did anything wrong. I think any striker would have gone down in that situation with Creswell. And I don't think he was winking to say, I've cheated. I think he was just winking to say, happy days, he's got sent off for that. It's not like he went down holding his head or anything like that. He just went down. So, yes, winky's obviously body language of badness, if you like, but I don't really think he did much wrong, Dembele. But moving on to West Ham. So obviously Aaron Creswell is suspended for West Ham on Thursday night, and we have major doubts over Kurt Zuma, Gonzo. Have you heard anything?
No.
I watched your video earlier, and you said you were going to talk about it later, so I thought, maybe Gonzo knows if Zuma's injured or not.
Oh, sorry. No. But the video was recorded last night, wasn't it? That's the thing. So I think I was, when I say later, I sort of
scammed me.
I did. Clickbaited.
I watched your video and thought, brilliant. I'll ask Gonzo about Zuma because he's got the latest. Turns out you don't.
No, well, I thought there'd be news for the scam by the time that we did this, and there isn't. So, I've not got a guy behind the scenes like a masseuse or a doctor who phones me up and tips me off on stuff. Unfortunately, not.
Right. Well, when we do our hypothetical 11, let's do it without Kurt Zuma. Because I think when you do it with Kurt Zuma, I think you only need to do one change, really, I think. And then it'll be quite obvious what you're going to do. So if Kurt Zuma is missing, the big question is the formation, isn't it? Do you stick with 4 at the back and simply put Issa Diop in there, bearing in mind you've then got a new left back and a new left centre back? Or do you switch to back 3 just for caution?
I mean, it is interesting. The thing is, we normally do it a little bit more sequentially than this. One of my issues is Souček in this. And I must be honest, if we're sticking with a 4 at the back, I'm probably dropping Souček from the starting lineup. And the person going into the middle there to join Declan Rice would be Fornals. If you're going to do the 3 at the back, then actually the person that's probably performed best at left wing back is Fornals this season. I thought he really played well and grew into that. So I'd want to place him there, which means Souček comes in. I mean, it's a really, really difficult one. So if you were playing the 3, do you want to play with 3 centre-halves, do you?
I do, yes, because I don't trust Dawson.
How would you do it then?
I would have Diop, Dawson and Ben Johnson.
Okay.
I think you need to have a little bit of flexibility in there. You need to have somebody that can come out from the defence with the ball. But also the way I've done it is if we need to switch to a forward back, you can do it just like that. The personnel on the pitch, it allows you to switch to forward back without making any substitutions. But I think also Ben Johnson, offensively, I've got question marks, but defensively, I've got absolutely no question. I think he's a fantastic defender. So I think as a right centre-back, I think he's got all the attributes, and it's hard to ignore what Chris Akabusi told us months ago now. And Chris Akabusi told us that he sees a right centre back in Ben Johnson, and I sort of Akabusi. I'm not just saying it's Akabusi because he's a celebrity. And obviously, his field is slightly different to as of a footballer, but he's got a good footballing opinion. I find myself agreeing on a lot of things in regards to West Ham when he comes on and stuff. And so when he says something like that, it made me think. And actually, the more I see Ben Johnson, we saw a glimpse of him at right centre back, the more I like it, actually. I do wonder maybe this would be his best position because I'm not sure we know what it is yet. It's not right wing back, maybe right back, perhaps right centre back in a back three. I would go with that for that back three there because I don't trust Dawson and Diop as a two, Gonzo. I just don't trust them as a partnership.
No, I mean that is a really interesting one. Actually, I am now you say that I'm more inclined to go with this myself. So let me get the
pen and paper.
The old book of truth and the pen of destiny out. So if we go with that, so you're going. Do you not call yours such things?
It's got a name at the minute. It's got something at the minute. It says players I've never heard of. Actually, it's got that on it.
That's a long title for a book. It's not as punchy as Book of Truth.
No, but it's adequate. It's relevant for Lyon, isn't it? So there we go.
I guess it is. Okay, so you're going to go with Soufal as a right wing back.
How do you know that? I might have done Ryan Fredericks.
I'm asking. It's sort of a rhetorical
question.
I
was going to go Soufal.
So.
Because the reason being, if you're going to play wing backs, they've got to attack. They have to get forward. You're almost sacrificing an attacking player to play three at the back. So your wing backs become arguably the most crucial players in this formation. And I think Soufal going forward is better than Ryan Fredericks going forward. I feel a bit harsh because I think Fredericks has done nothing wrong in those two games, including against Lyon last week. But for this one, I was encouraged by what I saw from Soufal. Not blown away, encouraged by his return. Those minutes under the belt. There was very, very, very few positives from Brentford. And I'm not necessarily saying Soufal's performance was, but his return and him getting 90 minutes was certainly positive. So I play him right wing back, and I agree with you. Fornals on the left.
Do you think that David Moyes will do this? Or is this just yours? Sometimes we do it, we say, look, let's
no, this is what I would like to see. And the thing is, if Zuma's missing, I don't think we'll be too far off with this, It might not be like for like in terms of personnel, but I wouldn't be surprised if he switched just to three at the back. Diop and Dawson for an hour got slapped by Brentford, right? That's the reality of it. They did. They got torn apart by Brentford. Lyon is a hell of a lot better than Brentford. Moyes can be cautious, a little bit safety first, and understandably so. And I think he'll feel we might need to keep a clean sheet in order to progress in 90 minutes on Thursday night. And I'm not sure we disagree with that, to be honest.
Okay, then. So the rest of the team really picks itself, doesn't it?
It does, yes. So you lead the dance here.
Okay, which is obviously Rice and Souček, and then Lanzini, Bowen, and Antonio.
Yeah.
Okay. I quite like it, actually. That is less of a worry than Dawson and Diop at the back.
What would you do if Kurt Zouma is fit, though? Would you remain with four at the back as you were with Johnson on the left?
I would, and I would do what I said about Fornals.
Okay, actually, then. So you'd have Rice and Fornals with
Lanzini,
Bowen, Lanzini, and who else? Ben Rama or Vlasic? You've got an extra player here now.
Vlasic.
Big call that. He's not done much.
Who has? Who has? We're struggling in that position, and that's why I like the other idea best. Now you mentioned it, that's better than my one, certainly, because it takes that decision making out of it. And I do think that Bowen, Lanzini, and Antonio as an attack, which is what it would probably be, helps. And I also think on that one as well, you're taking out some of the defensive responsibility of some of those guys that are in the midfield and up front, because you've got 3 centre backs there. There's a little bit more freedom, hopefully, for some of those to go and attack. And clearly we will need to attack. There's a tired look about it, but you would sort of hope with Johnson, Soufal, and Lanzini that there's enough energy in there. And I cannot imagine for the life of me that Bowen will put in a performance like he just did. I think it's not this. I've not got the same certainty. I can't say the same thing about Souček or Antonio, because I think they just looked completely knackered, both mentally and physically. I don't think that was what was going on with Bowen. I just think, whatever. I don't know. I think Bowen will be back to Bowen form for this game.
Yeah, I agree with that. Antonio's a lucky boy as well, really. He probably deserves to be hooked from what we saw on Sunday, but he stays in just through default, really, unless you want to try. You're saying Vlasic. I'm stuck in my teeth here thinking, oh, that's a curveball. I think dropping Antonio completely would be a major curveball in such a big game. I think he almost has to play. How are you feeling for this one? Before the first leg, you were very, very nervous. You were extremely nervous. After the first leg, I think you started to get a little bit excited and G'd up a little bit. I think large part of that was Lyon's antics and the referee being inadequate. So how are you feeling today?
Well, the Brentford game comes into the equation, and this again has altered my thinking or my mood or whatever you want to call it. Really, so much, Geo. There's so much to dissect here. We needed. I've been repeating myself. We needed the lift. That would have been a difficult dressing room to be in after the Brentford game. So there's another job to do there. It's not just about the 3 points. There's basically, you give yourself a man management job to do after that. You give yourself a psychologist job as a coach to do to lift the players after that. So that's not great. And crikey, I say the players need a lift. I think a lot of the fans need a lift. Certainly I do anyway, in those sort of terms. So I needed a bit more promise in it. There wasn't any. The Antonio thing worries me massively, because I thought the Antonio foul was a cry for help. I think it was an act of utter frustration. It was almost, crikey, talk about read a lot into a foul, but I'm going to do it anyway. It was a case of, I don't know what to do here. I'm spent. I am out of ideas. I cannot impact this game. What can I? It was utter frustration, and that worries me. That's a lot to turn around in a couple of days, to get from that Antonio, a man that frustrated, that devoid of ideas, that devoid of sharpness, to beast Antonio. That's something special. That needs a real monumental effort from Antonio himself and the coaching team. But more importantly, the coaching team have got to identify what's happened, and the fact that it took Antonio to foul someone before they noticed how badly it was going doesn't fill me with confidence, because that was evident in that game how bad it was, but it took him to almost be borderline out of control before the coaching staff or David Moyes said, oh my goodness, there's a problem here. That doesn't fill me with confidence that they can rectify that problem. I'm not even sure they thought there was a problem.
To be fair, in his first tenure, in Moyes' first tenure, Gonzo, Antonio was injured one game, and he had to run over the other side of the pitch and lie down on the touchline in front of him like, I am injured. Can you take me off, please? Remember that game when the substitution had been made? Antonio just assumed it was him. He started walking off, and someone else got taken off. You could see him like, my hamstring's gone. I can't move. All the fans were going, hang on a minute, get him off the pitch. He's done. Yeah. But Antonio had to go over and lay down in order to be subbed. Something I've been... Oh, my mood's gone up and down, really. After Thursday, I was, come on, man. I was almost like Sparta. Let's have it. Come on. We'll do this. Sunday's knocked me quite a bit for confidence, because I don't mind getting beat by the better team on the day, or we get Moyes gets his tactics slightly wrong and we get beat. Fine. That is easily rectified. I guess this is what you're saying with Antonio. Those things, fine. But on Sunday, it was almost like an attitude issue. And that's not something I've seen under Moyes in a long, long time. That's something I take for granted now, which is West Ham will just turn up. We just will turn up. We'll put in a shift. It may not be good enough to win the game, but we will give 100%. And on Sunday, I didn't feel like that was there. Is it because of Thursday? Well, I hope not. It might be. to some extent, I'm starting to hope it is, because then we'll see the reaction on Thursday night. But today I've been guilty of getting sucked in, Gonzo, not just by a Europa League fever a little bit, but I just listened to a podcast that David Moyes has done in regards to like management style and stuff. And that's tomorrow's video. I'm going to do the video on it tomorrow. And he's just talking about how he manages players and stuff. And it's got me quite G'd up for Thursday, actually, because when you're speaking about Antonio, I'm almost sitting here like, go listen to the podcast.
Okay.
all your worries, I'll go away.
Okay.
When you hear Moyes talking about how he manages players and how he's changed to the manager, because back then nobody would go to the manager's door. Now he's got an open door policy, so players can come in for a chat. He puts his arm around them and stuff like that.
Almost, people knock on the door and he says, "Get out!"
Yeah. Maybe he was like that at Everton, but it's just got me sucked in a little bit. He's almost given me, but I almost want to go play for David Moyes after listening to that. But I won't, just because I'm not good enough. But apart from that, if I was, I might do.
Once you're in, mate. You won't
but I'm still a little bit nervous, mainly excited, and it's like I said last week, we've done well to get to this stage. I wanted to continue, and we'll talk about that ahead of Sunday's game against Burnley, because that's what we need to do in order for this to continue, assuming we don't win the Europa League. And that takes the pressure off it for me a little bit. I think we've done well. And before someone says they want to go further, so do I. I am not giving the speech David Moyes has given. To be fair, I hope David Moyes has prints off a picture of Winky Dembele and sticks on the wall and says, "There you are, lads." That's what he thinks of it.
It's better than a picture of Wanky Dembele. That's what I'd say. Because that would be motivational at all. You think, "Oh,
that's a really good manager if he's got that out of Dembele."
See that? Thank goodness he didn't sign him.
He's got a closed door policy. Away. No, Dembele. We don't want you.
Stop doing that, for goodness sake.
Piss off. Put your baguette away.
It's probably, if he was doing that on a pitch, probably the referee would say, "Oh, it's another head injury."
Oh, brilliant. Right. Anyway, you're going to think we're nervous for this one. How are you feeling? Are you confident? I guess there's two questions. A, are you confident? And B, how much does Kurt Zouma impact your confidence for this game?
I'm not confident, and I think that it has played a massive part. That's a big loss for us, really. It's really hard. I think Lyon would have been watching that game. Clearly, they would. They'd have scouts, or even if they just watched it on telly, the Brentford, and they'd have been. Well, number one, they'd have been rubbing their hands, and number two, they'd be thinking, actually, I don't think we will sign this at Diop.
And number three, Dembele was turning wanky, thinking, I can't wait for this.
Absolutely. He was really enjoying himself. And he had a couple of windows open on his laptop, obviously. Actually, he's not a poor fella. He stitched us up. So, he get all the reputation he deserves. I am somewhat nervous about it, confident. No, but I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. I'm not so depressed by the Brentford result. I think there's no way back here. It's hard to know about which way human psychology goes. It may well be that actually the Brentford result and performance gives us a situation where they might think, well, actually, this is our last chance to lose. This is possibly our only chance of glory. There will be players there. I don't mean Declan Rice here, or maybe even Bowen, but there'll be players there who will think, well, maybe this is it. Maybe this is as good as it gets for us in our football career. Once it goes now, we may not ever be in a European quarterfinals again, or with a chance to get to a semi-final. We may never get to play against Barcelona or whatever it is, whatever that motivation is.
Certainly Antonio, and I know he's not playing, but certainly Creswell as well. When you take their age into consideration and stuff, it is last chance to lose for them.
Yeah, so maybe the adrenaline can replace whatever fitness or energy levels are missing, or whatever it was, or maybe they can make them mentally sharp. So I do think a lot of it was mental fatigue. And as you say, there was a lethargy, there was a can't be arsedness about it as well. So it's tough to be confident, though, Gio.
I'm optimistic. It's difficult to put my finger on it. Maybe it's just as a fan just getting carried away, and I think that's okay. You're allowed to do that. It's important that you do that as a fan sometimes, even if you're not too confident. Just allow yourself to enjoy the moment. This is the second leg of the Europa League quarterfinal. We're potentially 90 minutes away from a semi-final against either Frankfurt or Barcelona, which is ridiculously good. And sometimes we all, you, I, and everyone else gets sort of lost in just the progress of West Ham. And I think Thursday, before the game, during the day, if you get 5 minutes, first of all, check yourself, but you've got another 5 minutes, just reflect on the progress that West Ham's made in the last couple of years, because then you're going to have to pinch yourself because you're thinking, this can't be right. We can't be away to play Lyon tonight, but we are. And I think my optimism comes from, we can't play that bad as we did against Brentford. We just can't. You used to say we don't get beat twice in a row under David Moyes. Obviously, we have now. It took a while, but we have now. But what you could replace that with is we tend not to play badly twice in a row under David Moyes. We might lose twice, but one of the performances might have been a bit of an even game or something. We've only just lost it. And I just think from what I saw from Lyon, it didn't worry me that much. I thought they were good, but that was all good. That was it. I wasn't blown away by it whatsoever. And I've seen better performances from us this season. And we're not here by fluke. We put out Sevilla, and I keep going back to it. I thought Sevilla were favourites. We've put them out, so I can't then think we're then going to lose to Lyon. But saying that, if we play like we did on Sunday, we'll be out by half time. Simple as that. But that's on the assumption that Lyon turn up. That's on the assumption that Ndombele and Aouar are fit. If not, they have adequate replacements. You know, it worries me that Tete will probably start, and they had enough decent players on the pitch to start with. So they're going to have a strong bench on Thursday night. It will be a difficult game. I don't think there'll be much in it. Confident, no. Optimistic, certainly. So can I get any final words from yourself, Gonzo, as well as your all-important score prediction? And if you're going to go for a draw in 90 minutes, which, in a vibe, you might, what you're saying, who goes through after extra time?
Sorry, what do you want before my score prediction? I'm
your final words.
My final words.
Yeah, as always.
Always. That was a surprise. There's a big job. There's a massive job to be done here. There's a massive job by the coaching staff. I look forward to getting your video tomorrow, or the link to the podcast or whatever. They need to perceive what's wrong. I think if the coaching staff can perceive what's wrong and they can transmit that to the players, then I think we can get somewhere. I think the tactical approach is key here. And I mean, the Zuma one is very, very interesting. I can't help but thinking so much of this hinges on Zuma. David Moyes waited for that player, and that was his first choice. And to our frustration, a lot of the time, for a very good reason. He's a very, very good defender. I'd almost go as far as say he's almost like the best defender that West Ham could get. It's not Diaz or Van Dijk or whatever. That being said, it's not all over, and this is why we have to caveat a lot of what we say, which is this is the review of the Brentford game. This is how we're feeling now, and it doesn't matter how you caveat it. Some people still think, oh, this is permanent doom and gloom. It's not, but it's very upsetting, disappointing, let's say, when you see a performance like that. It's hard to get confidence from it. But there's enough dream in me. There's enough Christmas Eve-ness about my general demeanour at the moment to think that our journey, our little adventure, is not over this season yet. And I have a I don't know. I'm just seeing some celebrations, and I don't mean the stuff that's like Quality Street. I am seeing some euphoria on Thursday night, and I'm seeing a 1-0 West Ham win.
Oh, from Winky Dumbelly to Wanky Gonzo, I think.
Okay. And check yourself while you're at it if you're down there. Why not?
Man, that'll be exclusive to patrons only, though, that part.
Absolutely.
No, I think there's so much things that are crucial to this, Zuma being one of them. But it's also then, if Zuma is out, what's Moyes going to do? That's the part that worries me a little bit. I think we might just switch to 3 at back, but I'll tell you something I don't want to see right now. I don't mind saying this. I do not want to see Arthur Masuaku in that starting 11. Because if we're playing a left wing back role, he might be tempted to put him in. If we're playing a left back role, he may just be tempted to put Masuaku in there. If I see Masuaku in the team, my confidence will go through the floor. I will, honestly. It will just be gone. But if Moyes gets everything right, and he has to get everything right, if the players turn up, and they have to turn up as well, both those things have to happen. So it's a big ask. But if both those things do happen, I think we'll win. However, should we get something wrong, it could be very costly. But I'm actually going to say 1-1, for the 90 minutes, but I think we'll win it in extra time. I think we will go through. I do. I don't know why. I just think we've got, I don't know who. I think we've got a hero on the bench. A bit like the Yarmolenko thing, but we had that
So we've
story.
got Quality Street, celebrations, and heroes.
That's all we need is roses, and we've got the set.
Oh, we do, yeah.
But anyway, yes, I'm going to say 1-1, 2-1 West Ham after extra time. But there you go. There's our preview of Lyon against West Ham United. Let us know the team you want to see on Thursday in the comments below. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff, so we'll be live at 6:55 on Thursday evening with our live build-up show where we take a look at the two teams, have a little bit of a chit-chat, and it's our most interactive show. So join us on Thursday night. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Myself and Gonzo. Catch you in a bit.